Hello everyone, Christian Ryan here, and today I have a special Christmas-related video! You see, all the way back in November of this year, Chuck E. Cheese's did something big by releasing their first ever fully animated holiday special known as A Chuck E. Cheese Christmas! And this is especially a big deal, because basically back in 1983 they tried to do that, but it was unfortunately around the time the company that owned Chuck E. Cheese's went bankrupt, so they didn't have enough money to fully complete the animation for the special, even though they still had enough money left over to complete the voice acting and all of the music. So it was sort of like watching a fully colored animatic of a storyboard for a Christmas special that got cancelled. And as you may or may not remember, I did a video like a few months ago talking about this pitch bible that got leaked for a Chuck E. Cheese's TV show called Chucky and Friends, which is being considered by CC Entertainment because this special is supposed to be the backdoor pilot to that TV series. Well, basically, I'll leave that link in the description below so you can get caught up on what I was talking about. But since now the special is currently available, I figured why not do a review of it, because basically this seems like a pretty big deal, and I won't lie to you, this is a pretty great special, because it was created by Zach Moncrief and John Colton Berry, who are both people who have worked on many projects like Phineas and Ferb and Be Cool Scooby-Doo. Now, I trust these people completely with this, because first of all, I know a lot of people don't like Be Cool Scooby-Doo because they claim it looks a lot like Family Guy and doesn't focus more on the mystery-solving part of the show since it's more comedy-centric. But hey, it's honestly one of the first Scooby-Doo TV shows I've ever seen after I got introduced to the franchise by watching a direct-to-DVD puppet movie that was originally supposed to be a pilot for a puppet TV show that got scrapped. And basically, I like comedy more than I like scary stuff, and even though I do like other Scooby-Doo projects, I like this one better because of one, it being the first Scooby-Doo TV show I've ever seen, and two, basically since it's more comedy-centric and mystery-centric, I like the comedy more because, you know, I'm a comedy guy. So, there's my reasons, so that's why I trust them with that. And not only that, but basically, Phineas and Ferb is one of Disney's most popular TV franchises out there. I mean, basically, this series is iconic. I mean, people know it and love it. It's been around for maybe over 10 years. But not only that, but there are a lot of online trends connected to it. Like the squirrels in my pants online trend. And let's not forget the meme where Doofenshmirtz says he would have 2 nickels, because he said if he had a nickel every time he was doomed by a puppet, it would be 2 nickels because he's been doomed by a puppet twice. So that's how iconic this series is. So honestly, if those two people worked on those shows specifically, then I fully trust them with doing a Chuck E. Cheese project, given their background and like animation and whatnot. So yeah, I completely trust them. And let me tell you, I think they really cared about working on this project, because in the credits of this special, they actually give a special thanks to the parents and families of the people who worked on it for taking them to Chuck E. Cheese's when they were younger. And not only that, but basically when they were doing interviews for the special, they basically talked a lot about the details they were trying to do, seeing how this is now the chance to fully fledge out the Chuck E. Cheese characters to be like 3-dimensional characters with depth and growth and personalities and whatnot, more than just basically doing robot show segments and music videos and birthday parties. So it was honestly a big deal for them, and honestly I can see why. So, before we get into the special itself, I do want to talk about the characters and the voice actors and what they've been doing to promote this special. So, with that out of the way, let's get into the character descriptions and their voice actors. Now, for when I'm describing the characters, I want you to remember 2 things. One, I'll be describing them by how their character descriptions are described on the official Chuck E. Cheese wiki made by Chuck E. Cheese fans to keep in track of everything Chuck E. Cheese related. And not only that, but I'll also be listening to people who voiced them Because even though I'm going to mention who's voicing who when we talk about the special, I feel like since we're talking about the characters earlier than the other characters featured in this, I figured I should mention their voice actors before I get into their character descriptions. And not only that, but basically I'll only be mentioning the main 6 characters who are listed as main characters for the pitch Bible, and not only that, but were already existing in the Chuck E. Cheese franchise before the pitch Bible was ever thought of, because the only reason this TV show exists is because of those characters existing, like Chucky, Helen, Jasper, Munch, Bella, and Pasqually. So with that out of the way, let's get into the first character description, which is Chuck E. Cheese. Obviously. Chucky in the series is voiced by Nathan Kress, who is pretty much best known for shows like iCarly.
Yeah, I guess it would be cool to finally bring some of my ideas to life. But I don't know, who am I to tell people how to have fun? As I always say, the right party can solve any problem, and I think I have the solution.
Basically, Chuck's personality is still pretty much the same as his Rockstar era personality, where he's basically a fun-loving mouse, but his personality is also upgraded so he can see life's positives and barely see the negatives. According to the official wiki, Chucky seizes any opportunity to examine life at a fresh and new angles, such as whoever said eggs and pancakes were only morning foods, leaving a complicated relationship with rules and authority. To him, rules are not to be broken, but are more meant to be re-examined, reevaluated, and rewritten. As you can imagine, this makes Chucky an enemy target for those who like things just the way they've always been, and basically view him as an enemy to their rules. But essentially, Chucky is an impish, playful rebel who is always on the appropriate side of right and wrong. And this is a sort of a spoiler alert, but I feel like I want to mention this. I feel like these whole rules personality sort of comes in when they actually do make the TV series, because Chucky doesn't really have anything like that in this Christmas special, and in fact he sort of goes for like a character arc thing about trying to trust his ideas, but I'll get into that later. Next is Helen Henny. Helen is portrayed by Kari Wahlgren in this series, who is best known for playing characters like Tigress in Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness, and Little Susie in Phineas and Ferb.
Said something about the chickens right and they got low Christmas spirit.
But I don't want to be right. It's Christmas, the time for love, peace, family, giving gifts. What are we gonna do? I'm so worried I can barely focus on playing Monkey Chase.
Helen's personality is basically the same as her Rockstar era personality, with where she's a very kind hen with a love of playing video games and a positive attitude. But she's now depicted as having a nurturing maternal mother hen side, being the voice of reason in their friend group, like Helen's Avenger era personality. And occasionally, while gaming, Helen's passions may get the best of her, as she will sometimes reveal an incoherent, competitive trash talk inside of her personality, but she is also shown to be one of Chucky's oldest and most trusted friends. That I will pretty much get into later in the special, especially because of what her dialogue is consisted of. But either way, she's still a fun character. Next up is Mr. Munch, who is voiced by someone named Fred. I would pronounce the last name, but I haven't figured out how yet, so I'm afraid I can't say it. I'm sorry. But anyway, basically Fred's best known for playing some characters like the Hulk in several pieces of Marvel media. So, that's pretty cool.
Good morning!
I'll need you to explain that to me 20 more times, sir! His hair does have a dazzling sheen.
Anyway, Munch pretty much retains a similar personality to his Rockstar counterpart, and is described as being a sweet and natured and generous, and is always eager to help his friends, even if he doesn't know what they are trying to accomplish. He also has a high-tech device which can basically open a portal for him to visit his home planet and help him retrieve items he may need, like a hammer space. Although sometimes his friends might be confused about the objects he holds because it may look like regular Earth objects. Like, say, something that could save the entire universe looks like a weird-looking regular toilet plunger. kind of funny when you think about it. But, however, these items are more ridiculous and silly to help solve his friend's problems. Most of Earth's customs and society's rules fail to be fully understood by Munch, but one thing he does understand is music, which is why he's the musical director for a band they put together, which I don't think they've given a name. But either way, basically Chucky really enjoys what Munch brings to the table, because Munch is pretty much up for anything, so Chucky really appreciates that, even if he does get confused by what Munch does sometimes, like wishing everybody a Merry Christmas in a sort of confusing way. Either way, it does make sense for Munch's character, and they're really bringing on the whole fish out of water situation with the alien, which is sort of a common thing for some TV shows and movies, so that's pretty cool. The next one is Jasper T. Jowls, although they've removed the T in his name for this series for some reason, so he's just known as Jasper Jowls. Okay. Either way, Jasper in the series is voiced by Nolan North, someone who started doing live acting by playing a doctor on a soap opera, but then after the show got canceled, he decided to do voice acting, and now he's best known for a bunch of roles, like playing Desmond Miles in Assassin's Creed.
Well, people have more urgent things to worry about, like Chucky's driving. Probably not, but we'll fake it kinda okay.
Anyway, Jasper's personality retains consistent from the personality established upon Jeremy Blado's takeover of the role, a wisecracking, comically cynical dog. Jasper doesn't invest too much emotionally in the outcomes and solutions about which his friends seem so passionate. Jasper usually gets away with saying what people are thinking, though he is also very loyal and is able to make friends wherever he goes. And Jasper's social connections never fail to amaze his friends, because basically he knows a lot of famous people, mostly because they're a fan of dogs.
Man, Jasper, you really do know everybody.
People like dogs.
Like, the Pitch Bible even described a scenario where a city worker wants to unfairly fine Pasqually's restaurant, so Jasper makes a call to Governor Dolly Parton, who he's having an ongoing game of Go Fish with, and basically, like magic, the troubles have been resolved. So honestly, Jasper has his moments, to be honest. And not only that, but it's kind of cool that they're still having bits and pieces from his Adventure Era personality represented in this brand new TV series. Honestly, one of his best aspects, to be honest, especially since he still cares about his friends in both this and the Adventure Era. The next character we're talking about is Pasqually. Now, Pasqually in the series is voiced by Michael Goff. And when I first found this out, I was seriously freaking out, because, honestly, I'm familiar with Michael because of the fact that he played Gopher for Disney's Winnie the Pooh from 1988 all the way to the present day, whenever Disney wants to bring him back, whenever they want to bring Gopher back. Which, sadly, hasn't happened recently, because they came up with Gopher substitutes like Beaver or Bee, who are nice characters, but still, that means they can't out Gopher. So basically, Michael hasn't returned to voice Gopher yet, and basically his last appearance as Gopher is pretty much in Kingdom of Hearts 3. But other than that, basically he would probably return to Gopher when Disney wants him to, if they want to bring Gopher back, so, that's still pretty cool. But either way, people recognize Michael Goff for being an understudy voice actor for Mike Myers whenever it comes to the Shrek franchise. Specifically as Mike's character, Shrek himself.
Here we are. Pasqually's world-famous garlic knots. So now the have-nots have knots. There's a mouse, a chicken, a dog, a rabbit, and a purple thing eating garlic knots behind me, right?
Basically, Pasqually's personality has changed from his Avenger and Rockstar personality, where he's a fun-loving pizza chef who tells really corny jokes and basically thinks they're amazing, while everyone just groans and Jasper feels like he's being tortured. And basically, Pasqually's new personality in the series is that he's pretty much now a warrior, being easily stressed when life gets in the way. Although Chucky and his friends help Pasqually out, sometimes they are usually the reason for getting Pasqually in a pickle, such as being too loud, or him waking up to find Jasper drinking his milk from the fridge straight from the carton. And the reason that happens is because in the series, Pasqually's the owner and operator of his family restaurant, which is actually below the apartment where Chucky and his friends live, because basically the restaurant and apartment was a converted fire station, and the only thing they apparently didn't remove from the fire station when it was converted to a pizza restaurant and an apartment building was the fire pole, which Chucky and the gang have access to go into Pasqually's restaurant whenever they want. So basically that also kind of annoys Pasqually at the same time. And Pasqually's restaurant was founded by his great-grandfather Giovanni Pasqually in Sicily, Italy, suggesting Pasqually is his last name as opposed to his first name. And Pasqually fulfills as an overcur, or almost parental figure to Chucky and his friends, and is shifted off to the side of the main cast functioning as a more supporting role. Even though he still feels like a main character, seeing how he's listed in the pitch bible of characters who are only listed as main characters, like Chucky and the gang. What's also important to add is that basically Pasqually tries to teach his friends, and that it's important to think things through before they jump into stuff. And not only that, but basically he still does care about them, seeing how they like to hang out at the end of the day. Not to mention he hasn't evicted them from their own apartment, so it has to show some sign of love. But anyway, that's basically Pasqually's character. And I find this as a good way to segue into the next character, but it was later added to the wiki because of a source link that Pasqually decided to leave the band from his drumming position to focus more on his restaurant, which I'm not sure if it's true or not, unless that was just a fun way to acknowledge Pasqually now not being in the band, even though he was part of the band in the restaurants. But basically, the drummer position has now been fulfilled by the character we're going to talk about now, Bella Brinca. Bella in the series is voiced by Griffin, who, as you may know, is known for like a whole bunch of roles, like Puppycorn and Unikitty, Lola, Lana, and Lily Loud in Loud House. Basically, this woman has a lot of roles and she is very impressive at her job. But a lot of people mostly remember her for playing Daphne Blake for the Scooby-Doo franchise since 2001.
You ready, Bella?
Duh. The star is on the tree. I repeat, the star is on the tree.
It's not your fault.
No, it's his fault.
Stand down, Bella.
Bella's personality takes a major change for this series, because now she's depicted as being so cute that nobody takes her seriously. Like, imagine one of the cutest voices ever complaining about something, and you'll just instantly hear people go off, or maybe if you were a character in that cartoon universe, you wouldn't be able to resist the cuteness as well. Because her voice causes her friends and others to react with an "aww," regardless of what she says or what she's feeling. And pretty much Bella resents being cute and adorable, like, a lot. Like, this is pretty much talking about an anti-Dot Warner here, because while Dot loves being cute and wants everybody to see her as cute, Bella hates being cute and wants people to take her seriously, but yet people don't take her seriously.
Bella, are your parents okay?
Yeah, thanks to expensive insurance premiums.
Oh, sorry, Bella.
Whatever.
Sorry.
It's like riding inside a giant party lizard.
Reptiles.
Sorry, that's on us.
So what's the deal here?
OMG, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen! Would you look at her? Oh, look at her playing! Peekaboo! Peekaboo!
Inside, though, Bella is a no-nonsense, capable, and confident rabbit. Many times when her friends are still figuring out or arguing about how to solve a problem, Bella tends to be the one to solve it on her own. But luckily for Bella, even though nobody can resist her cuteness, there is one person who can sort of resist it, because even though Jasper is still not unaffected by how adorable she is, basically he's a realist, so he sees Bella for her capabilities other than her cuteness, so basically they have a strong friendship with each other, to the point where they make jokes with each other, or one of them makes a joke and the other agrees. They kind of fist bump each other as a way to congratulate themselves, which is honestly kind of cool. This led to some people I know online saying that this is sort of a ship between them, which I guess I can kind of see, but also at the same time I don't entirely want to jump to conclusions in case that's not the case. But then again, I also ship Chucky and Helen and see shippable moments between those two characters in the special, so who am I to talk? Anyway, even though Bella rarely does this because she doesn't like it, on rare occasions where Bella isn't able to, like, make someone do something for her from, like, brute force or being scary, basically, she reluctantly tries acting cute to make them do what she wants because nobody can say no to Bella when she's actually trying to be cute. With many antagonists being unable to withstand her cuteness and can't help but do her bidding. So basically, Bella sometimes likes to use her cuteness as a way to get people to do what she wants, if it's like the only option left. Especially because apparently nobody can say no to Bella when she turns up her cuteness to like 100% max.
I am so lonely and big-hearted, plus kittens and Baby Yoda and stuff. Would you all like to come to my special Christmas party? Please?
What's also interesting is that basically in the bands they formed, Bella now plays the drums instead of Pasqually since Pasqually's no longer part of the band. And not only that, but her parents also happen to own a fishing and sporting goods shop nearby called Brinca's. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's all of the characters. And basically now I want to talk about how they promote this special, because they've honestly been doing a crazy good job at it, but it also feels like it's incredible at the same time, so why argue? Anyway, basically the press release came out all the way back in June, and we didn't get any further updates on it until in October, where they decided to promote the special by releasing online animated shorts, that have the Chuck E. Cheese characters singing songs that the Rockstar characters were already singing before, or the special was even a thing. Like, I already talked about two of the shorts when we first got the news about this, with being Pumpkins in My Pocket and the Easy Dance, so I'll leave those alone. But basically, a few days before the special even released, they released a third short where Chucky and his friends decide to have a dance party in the car, despite the fact they're still driving. And the song they sing happens to be the Me and My Friends song that Chuck E. Cheese wrote for the 40th anniversary all the way back in 2017, which is honestly pretty cool.
Hey there, Chuck, what time is it?
It's dancing time again!
Alright!
Got brand new moves and they're easy to do, and they're all about me and my friends!
Anyway, the dance moves for the song basically involve trying to do dance moves to match the Chuck E. Cheese characters who were part of the bands during the time before Bella became a member in 2018 or 19 or 20. Which involves flapping her wings like Helen, spinning a pizza like Pasqually, making her hands mimic Munch's name, trying to scratch it off like Jasper, and pretending you have big mouse ears you can wiggle like Chucky. And the entire joke for the Chucky and Friends version of this song is that since they're doing it in a car instead of a wide open space, they all keep bumping into each other and saying random but sort of funny lines about how they're complaining about there's barely any room and this was a terrible idea.
Flap your wings!
Hey, careful! You're spinning the wrong way!
Pasqually makes this look so easy.
Ow, my clavicle!
Munch, why couldn't your name be Sit Still?
Look like him when he's a scratching hat!
Someone actually reached my back!
Wiggle your ears!
I can't
Wiggle
do
your
it!
ears!
What's an ear?
At least this doesn't require obstructive arm movement.
And let me tell you, when you think it's over, basically they end up crashing the car.
Flap your wings by your side!
Like Miss Henny!
Spin a pizza up high!
Like Pasqually!
And do the munch! Do the munch! Do the munch! Do the munch!
My clavicle!
Helen's clavicle!
I kind of like how they don't completely finish the song. Although I will admit, when I first saw this, I thought Bella was going to ask why there isn't a lyric about her. Because, well, this song was written before she became part of the band. So I thought that would be like a pretty funny reference. But, it was still a good short. Anyway, another way they've also been promoting the special was by releasing clips of it on their official YouTube channel. And not only that, but there was a trailer that got out a lot of views when it first came out, so that's pretty good. And not only that, but they released 2 music videos for the 2 original songs that were made for the Christmas special. And not only that, but basically Zach Moncrief decided that he would do like a countdown until the special officially came out on his Instagram and YouTube channel by posting behind the scenes pictures and whatnot, while also explaining the character personalities and their roles in the special when he makes the countdown dedicated to that character, which is honestly pretty amazing and gives us insight on some more details the pitch Bible and the wiki never told us about. Like, basically, the countdown post about Bella is actually where we get the information about Pasqually leaving the band and Bella taking his place, which is why I wasn't sure if that was actually canon or not, because I was just wondering if that's Zach's way of making a reference to how Pasqually used to be the drummer of the band, but now Bella is. But anyway, I think I've talked about this long enough, but honestly, I think it is officially time that we finally get into this special, and let me explain to you why it's honestly one of the greatest things Chuck E. Cheese has released in quite a while, especially because even though some of the stuff they've been currently releasing, except for when it involves the AI, is kind of fine, basically, I feel like this specifically blows everything out of the water, like literally. So, with that out of the way, let's finally get into Chuck E. Cheese Christmas! After the special's logo is revealed, we head into the town where the show takes place and enjoy a calm opening number of We Wish You a Merry Christmas as we see some of the background characters. What's also pretty interesting about the background characters is that basically some of the background characters actually represent older, current Chuck E. Cheese characters that fans like to acknowledge. Like, this character is a representation of Dino Summer, and this character is clearly a representation of Ronaldo Sagittarian, the magical unicorn. Or Ronnie the Unicorn for short. In fact, the end credits didn't even try to hide the fact that someone was voicing Ronnie the Unicorn, which is kind of funny. And basically, there are also some characters like the giant armadillo named Phil, BB Bubbles, Madame Onk, and even a red version of Krusty the Cat. And honestly, that is really, really cool. One character who may or may not be another background character based off of a Chuck E. Cheese character is this guy right here, who I think is supposed to represent Steve Waters. I know it's a stretch, but honestly, the face for some reason gives Steve Water vibes, the hair sort of matches Steve's, and not only that, but he's wearing a beanie hat that's... I mean, I know it's supposed to be a bandana, but basically we're talking about the winter weather here where he's wearing a Christmas sweater, so why not make it a blue hat? Anyway, just when you think we're going to have a calm opening and get to meet Chucky and the gang for the first time, that's when everything goes to chaos! Because one thing that wasn't mentioned in anything about the special or the pitch Bible before this special came out is that Chucky and his friends work for a party supply store and are hired as the delivery people so they can deliver the decorations to everyone in town. Which is exciting for Chucky because he gets to go from celebration to celebration and, well, he's a mouse who loves to party. But basically, I'm just saying everything goes to chaos because after the calm opening is done, that's when the Partymobile, which is a party blower-shaped car that Chucky and the gang have to make their deliveries, is seen recklessly driving up to the camera as it's going crazy around town as Chucky and his friends are in a hurry to deliver some decorations. Basically, what's happening is that Chucky is taking his job way too seriously.
Come on, back me up here, Jasper. Am I the only one who takes decorations seriously?
Yep, 100%. You're the only one.
Munch is eating all of their supplies.
I love decorations!
Don't eat the decorations, Mike.
And Helen is way too concerned about how fast Chucky's going, and when she tries to convince him to slow down, she accidentally angers Bella.
What happened to slow and steady wins the race? Remember the tortoise and the hare?
Never! That story is nothing but anti-bunny reptilian propaganda.
Oh, angry little bunny.
Even her rage is adorable.
So after nearly avoiding a bad fall into a giant pothole, basically Chucky is noticing how all of the dresses they're delivering to, which by the way are supposed to be references to locations of some of the Chuck E. Cheese restaurants, they all notice that the places they're delivering to all sort of have the same decorations, so nobody's trying to make anything unique. Helen tries to encourage Chucky that he should try to show the world what a real Christmas spirit is like by throwing a Chuck E. Cheese Christmas, and even though Chucky agrees, he doesn't feel like it's his place to try to tell people how to have fun, so basically he just shrugs off that suggestion. And he thinks people still have Christmas spirit because of the deliveries they have, but all of a sudden, the deliveries got canceled because according to the employee that assigned Chucky's deliveries, apparently everyone somehow heard Helen and decided since they don't have Christmas spirits, they shouldn't even bother decorating for Christmas, which is kind of surprising. So after they nearly avoid a crash with a bus, and let me tell you, that bus will come back later, basically Chucky noticed there was only one delivery that wasn't canceled, which happens to be at the shop owned by Bella's parents, with Bella's mom voiced by Griffin, and Bella's dad voiced by Michael Goff.
Well, someone's in a bad mood.
Why so serious, Mamita? Is your totally ridiculous level of adorableness acting up again? Ay, mija, I'm sorry. This extreme cuteness affliction? You get it from his side of the family.
When Chucky brings out the decoration delivery, Mr. Brinca comments on how, his wife says their display isn't festive enough, even though he thinks it's festive enough. And it's revealed that Mr. Brinca probably doesn't like to get too invested with the holidays, because the only thing in that box is a tiny wreath. And basically, his wife still doesn't agree that basically it's a good festive display. So Helen brings up the idea to Chucky that maybe he can do something about it. And even though Chucky's hesitant at first, basically he does have one idea in mind and decides to take charge, which is by creating a replica of Santa's sleigh with real-life reindeer. And even though Mr. Brinca thinks it's a little bit much, everyone enjoys it, but Chucky says there's one thing missing from his display, which is Santa himself. But when he sees a charity Santa who's run away from the bus they pushed away earlier, basically that's when the trouble begins, because after the bus leaves, the charity Santa hops into the sleigh covered by snow, and that scares the reindeer into pulling the sleigh, which somehow causes all of the electricity to go out in the entire city's block. And then the balloon that they used earlier attaches to the sleigh and carries off the reindeer and the charity Santa up into the sky, which devastates Chucky. Later at their apartment, basically the gang sulks about the disaster that just happened as Chucky tries to go over what exactly went wrong in his plan.
Well, the good news is, on paper, that could have gone much worse.
True. The paper could have caught fire.
After Chucky and the gang decide that they can't let their Christmas spirit drop like everyone else in town, basically Helen gets a notification on her phone, which is a holiday alerts system, which is something I didn't know was possible, but it tells everyone that Christmas spirit is at an all-time low everywhere, even at the North Pole, which should be surprising seeing how that's where Santa Claus is. So Jasper decides to make a call with one of his famous friends to try to tell them what's really going on. The only question is, which friend is Jasper going to call?
A senator?
A bounty hunter?
Light smells funny.
The Pope?
Ha! You think I could just call the Pope? On bowling night? It'd ruin his focus. He's so competitive.
The friend Jasper calls just so happens to be someone named Sandy, who is also voiced by Kari Wahlgren. And you may or may not believe this, but Sandy is actually Mrs. Claus.
Sandy is Mrs. Claus?
Of course, Sandy Claus.
Anyway, Jasper explains the situation to Sandy, and she sadly confirms that it's actually true because it's pretty stressful up at the North Pole, and Santa is actually feeling really down because he never gets any downtime.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sandy. I always assumed he had 363 days of downtime to chill.
With the world's growing population, naughty nice lists, elf problems, even at the frozen North Pole, Santa never chills.
I guess all those elf help books were a waste of time.
As Chucky continues to listen to how worried Sandy is about her husband, basically that gives him an idea for how they can cheer Santa Claus up. So he joins Jasper's call to let Mrs. Claus know how they can possibly cheer up her husband.
I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but while I was eavesdropping, it hit me. What Santa needs is a Christmas celebration to lift his spirit.
Mrs. Claus does think it's a good idea, but is afraid her husband might say no because he's too busy. But she has to end the call early because there are elf problems occurring because some of the elves are stirring up trouble again. Specifically one in particular, but we'll get into that later. So anyway, Helen tells Chucky that he can probably throw the ultimate Christmas party Chuck E. Cheese style to try to lift Santa's spirits. But when Chucky thinks back on the accident that happened at the shop owned by Bella's parents, as illustrated by angry Mr. Brinca in his eyes, followed by two giant X's, Chucky decides that they can't do anything Chuck E. Cheese style for the holidays, especially to cheer up Santa. Now, I know you're probably wondering what's with the whole eye thing. they don't really get into that, but I assume if they ever do a TV series, it might happen like only once per episode, so they won't like ride it into the ground by overusing it like they did here. But either way, back to the point. The point is Chucky is now a little bit too scared to have trust and faith in his ideas, so he wants to play it safe by doing a by-the-books thing, which means following the rules. Something that honestly makes me feel bad for Chucky, because Chucky usually has that complicated relationship with the rules that I told you about earlier with the character descriptions. So, see someone kind of sacrifice what they think would be best just to try to make someone else happy, even though it would probably make them a little bit miserable, is just kind of disheartening to see. So I honestly feel bad for Chucky that he's too scared to try his ideas, that he would try to do something that he would usually have a complicated relationship or sort of a problem with because of it being boring and less fun. But anyway, Chucky starts planning for the party already, since he needs to think of a location where they can throw it, which has to be a place where everybody is welcomed.
I know. How about not my parents' store?
Chucky gets the idea that they should go to Pasqually's restaurant to throw the party, because, as he claims, Pasqually loves them, which I say, really? And they all go over to the fire pole to go down to tell Pasqually the news, but that's when they come across a weird sign about piranhas.
If I didn't know better, I'd say Pasqually was trying to stop us from always sliding down a pole unannounced into his restaurant.
Meh. It's just good general life advice.
I mean, I can guarantee that's good life advice, seeing how Munch somehow has piranhas on his back, but again, knowing the character description of Pasqually and how he feels about these guys, I just have to say, really? Especially for when it comes to this scene here.
Hi, Chucky. Guys, you know all my other customers use the front door.
Bummer. Tell them they can use the fire pole. It's more fun.
Anyway, Chucky and the gang inform Pasqually on what their plan is, but Pasqually only seems a little bit too worried to handle a Christmas party, especially because he needs to figure out the mystery Christmas dish in his family. Because you see, over 100 years since his great-grandfather opened the first Pasqually's restaurant, each generation has passed on to the next generation a mystery Christmas dish that they need to solve the mystery of, sort of like a rite of passage thing. Pasqually wishes they would actually send down the recipe, but unfortunately the tradition involves trying to figure out the recipe yourself. And he's afraid he might not be able to succeed.
I can't be the first Pasqually to fail this rite of passage. I'd be unworthy of the Pasqually name.
I will admit, Pasqually being a warrior is kind of an interesting concept when you think about it, seeing how in all previous incarnations he wasn't much of a warrior. And not only that, but he basically told jokes and had enjoys in life, like making pizza for the guests, drumming with the band, and that sort of stuff. And not only that, but the only time I can ever think of Pasqually actually, like, worrying about something is sort of like, basically this one Chuck E. Cheese show from, like, 2014, where he and his friends are doing a Secret Santa, and he gets the name of Nigel the Sasquatch, but he doesn't know what to get a Sasquatch for Christmas, which leads him to sing this big song about wondering what on earth is he going to give Nigel.
So what do you get a Sasquatch? Don't know what to get a Sasquatch. What do you get a Sasquatch for Christmas?
So, making him a warrior instead of a fun-loving, joking pizza chef is kind of an interesting concept, to be honest. Anyway, after Chucky and the gang convince Pasqually that he has nothing to worry about, especially since they'll handle the party, and Pasqually could be known as the Pasqually who saves Christmas, Pasqually allows them to have their Christmas party in his restaurant.
Yeah! Let's go!
Please don't make me regret this.
Trust me, we won't have to make you.
Helen worries Santa might disagree to go into their party, so Chucky gets the idea that they should go to the North Pole themselves to give Santa a heartwarming in-person invitation. Meanwhile, at the North Pole, the elves are doing their job making toys and making Chuck E. Cheese plushies to give to the kids of the world, while a noble elf prince named Leggymos, played by Trevor Devall, basically is busy making an axe and trying to convince his fellow elves that they're wasting their time in Santa's workshop.
My noble elven brethren and sistren, hear me! What happened to our kind?
What I find interesting from Leggymos' character description and the description from interviews and the countdown to the release of the special is that Zach and John sort of created this character last minute when it came to creating the final script, And not only that, but basically said he's more of an antagonist with a redemption arc, and basically not only that, is sort of the hero of his own story, because he's sort of based off of a character from Lord of the Rings, and basically not only that, but basically before, since they were changing up the elf dynamics from the usual elves that we're familiar with in Santa's workshop, basically they came up with an origin that elves were on their own before they met Santa, and they were enemies with trolls and a troll king, and there was like this whole battle, and they were doing this thing by protecting that victory and making sure the troll king never strikes back. But then the elves somehow agreed to work for Santa and make toys. But then the elves apparently decide one day to work with Santa to make toys to give gifts to children around the world for Christmas. But Leggymos thinks they're being beneath their own potential by making these gifts, and thinks that they're disregarding their legacy. And not only that, but basically he believes that they're doing no good by just making a bunch of toys.
Defending that victory is the true purpose of the elf, not cleaning reindeer stables and making video games that aren't violent enough. Ever since we started working for Santa, we have lost our way.
I also bring this up because according to John and Zach in several interviews, they described Leggymos as a hero of his own story. Like, basically, he's just a hero in a wrong story. Like, for example, basically, if this was a story he was more suited for, he would actually be doing the right thing by trying to convince the elves to stand up and leave what they're currently doing to try to go back to what they were doing before. But he's not in that story, he's in a children's Christmas special, so he's seen more of an antagonist instead of a villain, but is still seen as someone who's doing wrong things, even though he thinks he's doing the right thing. And he has to learn by near the end of the special that what he's doing is actually wrong, and that he has to fix his mistakes. Honestly, a pretty interesting way to look at it when you think about it. Either way, after Mrs. Claus just stops Leggymos from trying to convince the elves to overrise, that's when she leaves the workshop because Chucky and the gang have arrived. One thing I find confusing about this scene is that I'm surprised enough the elves just ignored Leggymos and continued doing what they were doing. Because basically, for some reason in the special, some of the elves actually think what Leggymos is saying is true before Leggymos realizes what he's doing is wrong.
Imagine where you'd be sitting if instead of an elf, you were an barbecue.
Well, you should come hear Leggymos. He says it's beneath us elves to sit on a shelf all day.
Ugh, Leggymos.
Yeah, he's right. He has got a point.
But yet, since they all look genuinely happy working on these toys and whatnot, I'm surprised after Leggymos tries to convince them to ditch toy making, they just straight up ignore him and go back to what they were doing. And when he asks why they ignore him, one of them would just basically be like,
Okay, Leggymos, I get what you're trying to do here. You're trying to motivate us and trying to convince us that the good old days were better so you can try to overthrow Christmas and whatnot. But here's the thing. We like this. We like making toys and a bunch of candy for Santa Claus. You see, basically in the good old days that you're talking about, where we defeated the Troll King, do you remember what happened during the time before we defeated the Troll King? We were miserable. We lost lives. We lost friends. We lost family. Everything was basically like hell or something. So, basically, excuse us if you don't want us to basically, go back to the good old days because you think we're higher above making toys and such. But we are more happier than we've ever been because we are not scared to death and we are not losing anything. So if you don't mind, please just stop.
Because honestly, if you ask me, I think that's a reasonable response. But anyway, I got all I wanted to say about this scene out of the way, so let's go back to the special. Mrs. Claus opens the door to see Chucky and the gang there, who apparently got there because of a rideshare app called Go Ho Ho. Get it? Ho ho ho, go ho ho. Anyway, Leggymos hears what their plans are and tries to stop them so that way the elves can go back to what they were doing before they met Santa. And the first thing he tries to do is shoot an arrow through the ventilation system, which ends up messing up the toy factory and would bring a lot of stress to Santa because before that happened, everything was going smoothly. And apparently Santa, who is also voiced by Fred in this Christmas special, basically gets annoyed over hearing that some of the toys are malfunctioning and doing the wrong functions, and somebody tries to help. Apparently it's revealed he has a thing where he loses track of how many knees he has.
Ow, my knee!
Oh dear.
Ow, my other knee!
Okay, this is bad.
Ah, my other knee! Wait, what the 3 knees? How is that even possible?
I'm sorry. I know Santa's moods. Once he's lost count of his knees, it's game over.
Admittedly funny, but sort of weird when you think about it. Anyway, Mrs. Claus is sad to see that her husband might not agree to their Christmas party because of how much stress he has. So Chucky comes up with the idea that instead of trying to invite Santa to a Christmas party, they're going to throw Santa a surprise Christmas party. Which, given everything we've known about Santa, especially because he keeps an eye on everybody on the entire plan to determine who's naughty and nice, let's face it, that might be pretty difficult. Heck, even Mrs. Claus acknowledges that task is sort of impossible.
You want to throw a surprise party for Santa Claus? The guy who knows when you're sleeping and when you're awake? Man, you were not kidding about this one.
Bro's just getting warmed up.
Anyway, Sandy says it might take a miracle in order for that to happen, so as they wait for a miracle to happen with inspirational Christmas music playing, which is kind of funny, basically nothing happens, so Chucky decides they should do a harebrained scheme instead. You see, the scheme involves them going into Santa's office pretending to be doctors while Munch is pretending to be a nurse, but they're not just normal doctors, oh no. Basically, they get to be special doctors who specialize in facial hair only. And this is possible because apparently they decided to use lab coats when they were layering up to go to the North Pole, which is kind of funny. Anyway, they give Santa an emergency beard exam and tell Santa that they're going around the world trying to be on the lookout for an outbreak of a made-up beard disease known as beard rot.
I don't have time for this. Can't this wait?
Good Lord, man, no. Waiting is what Beard Rot wants.
Beard Rot loves waiting.
Waiting is the gasoline on Beard Rat's raging inferno! What? I was yes-anding.
To try to convince Santa it's real, they try to show Santa slideshow of well-known people who just so happen to have beards, who have supposedly lost their beards to beard rot. For example, Redbeard the Pirate, the Bearded Lady, and even Vincent van Gogh. And that's enough to convince Santa that beard rot is real, and not only that, but he loves his beard, so he gets really scared. And Chucky and the gang say the only solution is to basically go by their medical clinic to pick up his prescription for how to cure beard rot, which Santa's unsure of because tomorrow is Christmas Eve, but his wife convinces him that beard health is important, so Santa reluctantly agrees to go.
Wise choice, Mr. Claus. Now we have to rush to an emergency soul patch removal. It's not beard rot related, we just think they're silly looking.
One thing I'm surprised about and kind of find very funny is that somehow Santa didn't recognize them when they were pretending to be doctors, even though he should know who they are because he knows what their names are later in the special, and the fact that basically he's supposed to keep an eye on everybody to determine who's naughty and nice, so it's kind of crazy when you think about it. But anyway, after they're done with their scheme, they leave the North Pole to prepare the party, and Leggymos vows to make sure they don't lift Santa's Christmas spirits by sabotaging their plans.
I must stop this party. Then I must stop talking to myself.
Anyway, when we transition to the next morning, we get a pretty funny joke about the roosters making their cock-a-doodle sound in the morning, and that specific rooster happens to be Helen's dad talking to his daughter.
Right, Dad, okay. What time? 7:30, got it. See you then. Love you.
Dude, how do you say snooze button in rooster?
So everyone meets up in Munch's room to talk about how they're going to throw Santa a great Christmas party to relift his spirits. But Chucky decides in order to avoid a disaster like at Bella's parents' shop, he got a Christmas party rule book to make sure they do it by the book.
The perfect Christmas party rulebook by Penelope Homespun. It's a step-by-step, easy-to-follow guide so your imagination and creativity can take the day off.
Again, I feel bad that he has to rely on something like rules when it's going against something he has has complicated feelings about just to make someone else happy. But anyway, I don't know who thought it was a good idea to write a Christmas rule book, but it's absolutely ridiculous because, sure, there might be some rules to Christmas to make sure bad things don't happen or things don't go wrong, but seriously, this rule book is way too specific. I mean, just listen to how they mention ornament decorations.
All ornaments must be identically sized red and green colored balls hung in alphabetical order. That is organized.
How is it alphabetical order? It is literally just red and green round balls on hooks that look exactly the same. How? So, you see what I mean? This is clearly not a good idea in real life and in general, not for the fact that there's a rule book to help advance the plot, so, you know what I mean. But anyway, the only thing I actually agree about with this rule book is that apparently is specifically when they're talking about the words holly and jolly.
The most important rule for any Christmas song is to rhyme jolly with holly. Outside of Christmas, these two words do not actually exist.
Like, it's kind of true when you think about it. People rarely use the words holly and jolly when it's not Christmas, so I guess this clip just pretty much sums it up for me.
Truth.
So anyway, Chucky decides to list out the jobs to his friends for how they're going to throw the party. He puts Jasper and Bella in charge of making the decorations. He puts Munch in charge of writing the cliche Holly Jolly Christmas song. He puts Helen in charge of the invitations and guest list.
Okay, but to get people to a spontaneous Christmas Eve party, my calligraphy's gonna be a little rougher than normal.
It's a chance we'll have to take.
And we assume Pasqually might handle the food, seeing how it's his restaurant, as he goes up the fire pole to tell everyone they still not having any luck with the mystery Christmas dish. Although that does bring up the question if Pasqually went up the pole to try to talk to Chucky and his friends in their apartments, and how do Chucky and his friends go back up into their apartment after they slide down the pole? Because, what? But anyway, last but not least, Chucky puts himself in charge of trying to find the perfect Christmas tree. Leggymos has overheard their plan, and since he has a copy of the rulebook himself, he knows how he can sabotage their plan because he'll be one step ahead in every way. So when Jasper and Bella go to the Joyve party supply store, which may or may not be the store they work at, because the person who contacted Chucky earlier sounds like the employee Jasper talks to, who is voiced by Trevor.
Dispatch? Have all my deliveries been canceled?
Yeah, they don't want him anymore. Welcome to Joyve Party Supplies.
Hello, my good man, if that is in fact the correct species.
But when they get there, apparently the entire store is out of Christmas decorations, and the only thing they have left is a weird Halloween mask that Jasper ends up putting on Bella, so the store employee would stop obsessing over how cute she is. Which sort of explains where they got the Halloween masks and the pumpkins in my pocket music video. But anyway, the party store employee informs them that all of the decorations are gone because Leggymos has taken all of them to fight with a wizard.
How are tinsel and nutcrackers useful against evil wizards?
Hey, I don't know how wizards work. I can't even figure out how to unlock the employee bathroom.
But aren't you an employee? Man, I feel bad for him. Anyway, Helen's not having much luck with the invitations either, because even though she finds a group of people in Christmas sweaters to give invitations to, which is what the rulebook said to do, basically they all said that Leggymos gave them invitations to throw a Christmas party for the Christmas party rulebook, and the only reason they're not going to Chucky's party is because Ronnie, voiced by Trevor as well, says that fire-breathing dragons might appear at their party according to Leggymos.
What? That's ridiculous! There's no such thing as fire-breathing dragons.
Come on, Helen. You really expect anyone to embrace reality at this point? That train has left the station.
I mean, that's a good point coming from the big, white, blue-haired, magical talking unicorn that you're literally friends with. I mean, Ronnie has a point. Anyway, Chucky doesn't have much luck either, because when he goes to Trees a Crowd, all of the supplies there is burnt down, because according to the store employee, voiced by Michael Goff, Leggymos used a magical staff to burn down their entire crops to save them from tree rot.
He had a magical staff?
Nah, I let him use one of mine.
I know what Ronnie said, but how does this guy have a magical staff? Anyway, basically at the apartment, everyone's freaking out over the fact that their entire plan is falling apart. In fact, Helen's so worried she can barely focus on her video game, which gives Bella the opportunity to beat her.
There's no escape for you now, Feathers!
Ugh, you even gloat cute.
And anyway, even though they don't know the name of Leggymos because everyone kept referring to him as a heroic elf, Chucky is suspicious about this elf because it's like he's sabotaging their plans. Although Jasper and Bella comment on how it can't just be only them at the party because that's technically not a surprise party, that's scaring an old man. But when everyone else is wondering what they're going to do, that's when Munch comes down the slide and tries to show off his new holiday song to everyone. And let me tell you, I have mixed feelings about this song because basically everyone is sort of familiar with this song because it's called Christmas Robot Banana. I am serious. Basically, according to Zach on his countdown to Christmas, the song was originally supposed to be like a throwaway joke and wasn't supposed to be anything too serious as to like saying Munch failed with writing a cliche Holly Jolly Christmas song because basically the title and lyrics don't make sense.
Holly Jolly Christmas! Robot Banana, it's Christmas! So much Robot Banana! Why is there so much Robot Banana? Because it's Christmas! What? More Robot Banana?
No!
But apparently the person in charge of the music decided to make a random full song remix of this song by reusing the lyrics Munch sang when he was demonstrating the song to his friends, and some of the extra used and unused lines that Fred recorded as Munch throughout the song being remixed into the song.
Christmas! Robot Banana, it's Christmas! So much Robot Banana! Why is there so much Robot Banana? Why is there so much Robot Banana?
I will give props for creativity, but I don't think I'm a fan of remix songs like that because the music feels weird to me and the auto-tune sort of weirds me out, especially because of the lyrics being sung. And not only that, and I don't mean as a way to hurt anyone's feelings for if they animated this music video, but the choreography weirds me out because seriously, what is this dancing?
Christmas! Robot Banana, it's Christmas! So much Robot Banana! Why is there so much Robot Banana? Why is there so much Robot Banana?
But either way, basically, I know people apparently like the song because it's getting a lot of views and likes, and some people call it peak, but honestly, I just don't see it. The only way I actually like this song is when it's presented as a song that was sort of a throwaway joke, which sort of made me laugh because of how bad the guitar playing is, because Munch is just absolutely losing control on this. So yeah, even though I don't like the full song of Christmas Robot Banana, I do like what it was originally supposed to be, as in not to take the song seriously because it's just meant to make people laugh. And I swear, for the love of me, I don't know why, but Chucky just fumbling over his words to tell Munch why the song isn't working out is kind of hilarious.
Less robot banana. I'm not even sure what exactly a robot banana is, Munch, or how, because that doesn't, it's an inanimate object. You can't, it's a fruit. And so when you have a fruit, you can't make a fruit robot. And especially with Christmas, they don't really...
Anyway, they check on Pasqually to see how he's doing, and he's worrying again because he thinks he doesn't deserve to be up on the wall with his family. Although Chucky encourages him that the answer won't come through Pasqually's, and he has to trust his inner Pasqually in order to figure out what the mystery Christmas dish is. And with that cue, that's when Leggymos bursts into the restaurant and decides to confront the people he's sabotaging.
Sherwood Forest is that way.
And before you ask, yes, Jasper will actually only refer to Leggymos with constant references you may or may not get to kind of make fun or make jokes at the way Leggymos is dressed.
Yeah, what gives, Barbie of the Rings? Yeah, Clash of Clans. Yeah, see ya, Queen Targaryen. Sure, Xena Warrior Princess, why not? That's weird, but thanks, She-Ra.
I mean, to be honest, even though I didn't get a lot of the references Jasper was making when he was referring to Leggymos specifically, I did get the Robin Hood one, but I still found, like, a lot of the other ones funny even if I didn't understand the reference. Mostly because I know they're technically supposed to be references, and not only that, but it's still kind of funny to hear. And not only that, but in case you're worried it's, like, too many pop culture references, well, I will admit it might be a few too many, but I will give credit that they were at least making pop culture references in some of the original Chuck E. Cheese animatronic shows.
I've got it! You can write the inside story of a dream that did come true for the most fascinating and beloved rodent in entertainment history. You mean the Mickey Mouse? No, I mean me.
Honestly, I don't know what you boys find funny about the Three Stooges.
It's their sophistication, right, guys? Songs by Paul Simon.
Whitney Houston.
You too. Us too? No, not you two. You two, the band. Oh, never mind.
Where did you learn to dance like that, Chucky?
I watched Dance Fever a few too many times, I think. But hey, there were lots of boss movies in the 70s. And now there's just one thing missing for a good old-fashioned white Christmas.
You mean Barry?
What do you mean, Barry?
Barry White.
No, Munch, I meant snow.
But Chucky, what does Snow White have to do with Christmas?
Chucky, that was a hot song. Great performance.
Yeah,
Great
Chucky,
job, Chucky.
you are the king.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, folks. Thanks. We'll be here all night.
Actually, we're gonna take a quick break and give the king a chance to rest.
Why, we used to go down to this place that had all the new video games, like Pac-Man, Galaga, Centipede.
Time when a little movie called Star Wars was brand new. By the way, R2-D2 is my cousin.
My new favorite show is coming on.
Wait a minute. Is this the show with the giant yellow bird?
Oh, I love that show.
Oh, no, it's,
Is it the show where everybody falls in love on the big boat?
Well, Helen, I'm pretty sure that show was canceled a long time ago, but my favorite show is...
Is it a show where everyone sends in their hilarious home videos?
No! If you'd let me finish!
How about some talking vegetables?
Talking vegetables?
Oh, I had a bad dream about that last night.
And don't worry, Pasqually. The veggies I'm talking about aren't scary. I'm talking about VeggieTales.
Oh, I love them.
Yay, they are so funny.
Oh, yeah. VeggieTales rule.
Shoo, I was getting nervous.
Chucky, remember when we went to see MC Hammer live back in 1991?
I sure do, Helen. It was a great show.
Really? You saw him in a concert? Oh, did he wear his hammer pants?
Hammer pants? He wore pants made out of hammers?
I have to set the time circuits through the Google. Are they open yet? Does anyone know what the Google's hours of operation are?
I think they're open, Hank.
Using a video device and a computer, I am able to upload any video to the internet and share it with my friends. It's called YouTube!
Marvin, YouTube is amazing, but it's not that new of a technology. I have all kinds of videos up on YouTube.
And Pong is one of the most well-known video games of all time. And I don't mean to brag, but I am kind of what you might call a Pong champion.
This is my show, and I refuse to do one of those cutesy Christmas specials like those hazelnuts on TV.
I think you mean peanuts.
Hey, Chucky, settle a bet for me. Pasqually says the first Star Wars movie was made in the 1970s, but I told him that's impossible. Movies didn't even exist back then.
Not a good time, Munch.
Sorry, Chucky. He wouldn't have believed me.
I'm making tons of new friends online. Been building a majestic castle on Minecraft.
I know vampires are real popular with kids today.
Oh! Team Edward!
No, a team of Jacob.
Go Red Sox!
Right. Anyway.
I love movies. Which one is it?
The Karate Kid.
Oh! I love Jackie Chan.
Me too, Helen. But this is the original, starring Ralph Macchio.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud, there were some shows that the animatronics did back in the 80s and 90s that were specifically dedicated to making references and name-dropping TV shows and movies.
Hey, Chucky, you know my favorite movie?
Is there a ghost of a chance we could sing its theme song?
Yeah, sure. I think we can scare up something.
Don't give up hope, fellas. I know a fox who became a movie star. Yeah, Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. Oh, like in the movie E.T., where Elliot and E.T. go flying through the air on a bicycle.
That's it.
That's easy. It's Jennifer Beals in the movie Flashdance.
Why don't we have Mr. Munch do his movie star impressions,
Hey, here's my impression of Charlie Chaplin.
I don't hear nothing.
Of course not. He made silent movies.
Hey, speaking of lifting things up, I remember a whole house getting lifted up by a tornado in The Wizard of Oz. Remember?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and there was a great remake called The Wiz.
So it's like, sure, Chuck E. Cheese has always made pop culture references, to be honest, you know? Anyway, Chucky and the gang recognize the elf surprise recently, even though they've never met before, and Leggymos goes into detail with why he's trying to destroy Christmas, even though Chucky and the gang see this as a bad thing.
It's merely collateral damage. No Christmas means no more toy making, and no more toy making means the elves can finally return to our ancient heroic elven ways, defending the world against the evil Troll King and his minions. Who knows what evil schemes they've been hatching all these years since their defeat.
Leggymos doesn't mind that he's being told to leave because he thinks he has defeated Chucky and the gang. So after he leaves, Helen tries to encourage Chucky to not give up because they might still have the opportunity to save Christmas. So that's when Chucky remembers that they didn't unpack all of the decorations from their canceled deliveries and decide to use those instead. And Leggymos gets infuriated by this because he thought he made his point, so he tries to figure out another plan to stop them. And while that's happening, Chucky and the gang decide to try to disguise the building to try to make it look like a facial hair medical center instead of a pizza restaurant.
And we're sure Mrs. Claus will find us?
I told Santa it'll be obvious which building it is, so reindeer parking only.
That should be clear to everyone.
I'll just be a minute. I'm picking up a takeout order.
So as Santa and Mrs. Claus fly over the city looking for the medical center, that's when Leggymos discovers the box that contains all of the electricity for the city and uses his bow and arrow to cut the power, which causes Santa and Mrs. Claus to miss the building. And when Chucky and the gang discover this, they all climb into the party mobile and drive after Santa and Mrs. Claus to get them to the right building, with Leggymos vowing to stop them.
I'm talking to them, not myself. I mean, they can't hear me, obviously, but I gotta go!
So now a high-speed chase is in pursuit with Santa and Mrs. Claus trying to find the right building, Chucky and the gang trying to get Santa to the right building, and Leggymos trying to stop them. It only stops when Santa sees that there's a Christmas party for the Christmas rulebook happening, and he is not happy with it, so he flies over to the library to tell people that what they're doing is pretty much a little bit wrong.
People, is this what Christmas means to you? Rules? Christmas can't be celebrated by the book. This party lacks the only important element. Real Christmas spirit. Love, peace, hope, giving. The stuff that comes from the heart. It has nothing to do with this. Christmas is the time at the end of a long year to revel in what's really important. Christmas spirit is a fuel to recharge our loving, optimistic hearts for the new year. I mean, tinsel and nutcrackers? Do you really expect your party to be attacked by evil wizards?
I guess when it comes to Christmas, Santa sees rules the same way Chucky does. So, that's honestly pretty interesting in my opinion. And may I just say, I don't know who this author is, but I'm glad she was there to see Santa, because honestly, I was hoping Santa would tell the author of this book that this book was a bad idea. And even though I don't know who this lady is, why do I have a feeling she might return in future episodes if this becomes a full-length series, because, well, she's making a book about rules, and she seems to be very proud of the work she's done, as she was giving out autographed copies of her own books, so I feel like she and Chucky might butt heads in the future, to be honest. I don't know why, but I just feel like that's the case. But anyway, Santa is really disheartened by the fact that everyone thinks Christmas needs to be celebrated by the book, and ultimately decides to cancel it because of low holiday spirit, leading to everybody being disappointed, and Leggymos thinking he's finally won. And this leads to a scene where I find it sort of funny, but also find it very kind of harsh at the same time, because while Leggymos is making a reference that CZ Entertainment literally treats Chuck E. Cheese like a mascot, at the same time, he also brings an insult that would probably hurt anyone's feelings, so I really feel bad for Chucky.
Thank you for failing so completely, Mouse. Perhaps you can still be of some use as a symbol of the end of Christmas. They could put your face on t-shirts and books and toys.
Hey, Chuck E. Cheese is no one's mascot.
Pity. He's no one's hero either.
Well, at least the people who made this see Chucky as more than just a mascot. So as Leggymos enjoys his false victory, that's when he runs into the charity Santa, who is also voiced by Fred, who reveals he actually knows who Leggymos is.
Merry Christmas! Would you like to make a donation to bring Christmas cheer to those in need? Wait, Leggymos? My arch enemy? I can't believe it!
Troll King?
Leggymos is obviously shocked about how the Troll King is dressed up as Santa Claus and suspects he's planned in his next attack, when the Troll King actually reveals after he was defeated by the elves, he saw the error of his ways and discovered what Christmas is and became a humongous fan of it and wants to thank Leggymos for it. And you know that? And you know how I mentioned earlier, Leggymos has to discover he's not in the right film where he is the hero, but is instead playing the antagonist. This is that moment where he realizes what he did was very wrong. Because according to him, defending the victory of defeating the Troll King is the true purpose of the elves. And apparently the elves have been doing that all along by making choice and spreading Christmas cheer around the world. So, Leggymos sees what he did is actually pretty bad. Meanwhile, back at Pasqually's restaurant, Chucky and the gang are sulking about how they sort of ruined the chance to raise Santa's Christmas spirits, and not only that, but basically if Santa even did go to their party, he would realize they were following the Christmas rule book, which would have disheartened him even more. And that's just about the time when Leggymos comes back to Pasqually's restaurant. Obviously, the gang doesn't trust Leggymos because of how much he sabotaged their plan, but he came back to tell them he's actually here to redeem himself.
Yeah, right, Bilbo. We're supposed to just take your word for it?
Oh, no, of course not. I've got this redemption arc document notarized.
So Leggymos explains how he learned the error of his ways, and says that there's still a chance to raise Santa's Christmas spirits again if they're able to get him to the party, but Chucky's worried about the fact that their party is pretty much following the Christmas rule book that Santa doesn't like. But at that moment, Pasqually comes out of his kitchen to let Chucky know that he was actually right all along, because thanks to him following his own inner Pasqually-ishness, he was able to find out what the mystery Christmas dish is. And that actually leads to Chucky realizing that Pasqually's right about him being right, because he was too scared about following his own ideas because of the disaster that happened at the beginning of the special, and since he played it safe, that actually led to him failing.
Well, Chuck E. Cheese is done being afraid. It's time to start trusting myself and my ideas.
Yay!
Okay, guys, it's time to get creative. Chuck E. Cheese style.
And then we get a montage of them preparing for the Christmas party with very creative and festive decorations. There's only one scene that's left out that I kind of feel bad about, which is a deleted scene that was revealed by Zach Moncrief for his Christmas countdown to the Chuck E. Cheese Christmas special. You see, in this deleted scene, they kind of reveal what exactly a robot banana is. You see, basically Helen reminds Chucky that they still don't have a Christmas tree for the party because of what Leggymos did earlier in the special at Trees a Crowd. And that's apparently when Munch summons a creature that's from his home planet, which is a giant nose with a pair of arms called Montague. Basically, Montague is the symbol of a holiday celebrated on Munch's home planet, known as Giant Nostril Day, which is a lot like Christmas, but more nose-themed. And after Munch summoned him, basically Montague says he can help Chucky by giving him what he gives everybody at Giant Nostril Day, a robot banana, which Chucky is obviously still confused about. But Montague explains that robot bananas can grant wishes specifically for the holidays. And after everyone shrugs, Chucky decides to try it out by wishing for a Christmas tree, and lo and behold, basically the robot banana becomes a Christmas tree and solves their Christmas tree problems. And honestly, I know the reason Zach said why it got cut was because everyone thought it was too weird, even though he really wanted it to be in the special. And honestly, I get what the crew members and cast members who thought it was weird was saying, because honestly, since this is only a backdoor pilot, we shouldn't expect anything random like a giant nose with arms until, like, this becomes an actual TV series. But honestly, I wish they were still able to somehow keep in a scene where Munch somehow has a robot banana and explains to Chucky what it is. That way Munch doesn't make himself look crazy, and that way it explains where they got the Christmas tree when they're doing the decoration montage. But either way, Zach hopes that if this backdoor pilot ever becomes like a full-length series, they'll be able to bring Montague in some other way. And honestly, I kind of hope that too, because as one of the things they want to do is explore where Munch comes from if this becomes an actual series. And honestly, I feel like that would be a good explanation. But anyway, as everyone continues to decorate, that's when they notice all of the people from the bookstore leaving after that whole fiasco with Santa canceling Christmas. Helen thinks they should invite them to their party, although Jasper points out why would they go to another Christmas party after a failure disaster one with the rule book. And that's when Bella decides to invite the guests to their party so it can be full of guests, although that's also when she realizes she can't really make them do it by brute force. She has to do it by doing what she doesn't like, which is being really cute. So after she turns on maximum cuteness, everyone agrees to go to their Christmas party.
Thanks for taking one for the team, Bella.
What's the point of being cute if you can't save Christmas?
So, Leggymos and Jasper decide the only way to get Santa to Pasqually's restaurant is to pretend to be cops with reindeer who have noses that sort of change color like police lights, and tell them that they've quarantined the North Pole to protect Santa's iconic facial hair from beard rot, and give them the address to where the healthcare center is, which is really Pasqually's restaurant. And at that moment, that's when Bella discovers the electricity box and turns the power back on, as everyone continues to decorate for Santa's surprise party. And Santa and Mrs. Claus finally arrive at the right location, as Bella informs everyone that they've arrived, and everyone turns out the lights as they prepare to surprise Santa. After Santa and Mrs. Claus slide down the fire pole, again another reference to earlier with the piranhas, basically everyone jumps out and surprises them, as Santa sees that everyone has finally got some real Christmas spirit.
Look at this. Warm, genuine smiles. Family and friends. Creative decorations. Homemade treats. I guess Christmas spirit really is alive and well after all.
Of course it is, Santa. Think about it. What would we do without Christmas?
And that's when they start to sing another one of the original holiday songs made for the special called What Would We Do Without Christmas? Now, all of the songs for this special were written by John Coldenberry and Zach Moncrief, the co-creators of the special and also co-writers, but also with the special's composer Ben Bromfield. And basically, for this song, and this song only, John Coldenberry was able to get his father, Jeff Berry, to co-write the song with them. And Jeff Berry is known for making a lot of hit songs like I'm a Believer, Sugar Sugar, and Christmas Baby Please Come Home. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, basically the song is amazing and is honestly one of the best highlights in the entire Christmas special, especially for how good it is. In fact, the song is so good that I made a Gotcha Life music video out of it to celebrate when the special officially comes out. And let me tell you, I do not regret that. I mean, there were some scenes I probably didn't have enough time to try to recreate, or I didn't want all the scenes to be the same, so I tried to get creative by creating my own custom own when making this music video. But other than that, I feel pretty proud of it. And honestly, this song is really amazing. And honestly, it's sure to be a holiday hit. What's also interesting to note is that basically Nathan Kress doesn't sing as Chuck E. Cheese in this song. Now, in an interview Nathan Kress was in with his co-star Grey DeLisle Griffin, basically he said he didn't sing as Chucky in this special because usually he goes for like 9 T's after a full recording session, and when he was sent the demo for this song and tried it out for like 5 minutes, basically he was like, no, I don't think I'll be able to sing this song, especially in my Chucky voice, so they'll have to like get a singing double for me. So they got a singing double for Nathan, and basically, even though we currently don't know who that singing double is, other than probably being the Max Militant guy who provides additional voices for the special, basically, all we know is that Nathan's only the speaking voice as Chucky and not the singing voice.
What would we do without Christmas? What would we do without Christmas? Why
it's still an incredible song, and honestly, I hope Nathan doesn't damage his voice by playing Chucky for more Chucky and Friends related content, because I don't want him to suffer through any voice damage by continuing to do the Chucky voice if he has to go for like 9 T's after doing a full recording session. Makes me feel really bad for him, to be honest. But he still loves his job, as proven by him being excited for playing Chucky in multiple interviews, so honestly, I'm just glad he enjoys it. But anyway, after they're done playing the song, Santa officially uncancels Christmas after he sees that everyone has real Christmas spirit, and as Helen congratulates Chucky for finally gaining trust in his ideas. And you see what I mean for why I kind of see shippable moments between these two in this special? Because I mean, other than being one of Chucky's oldest friends, basically, Helen's dialogue is mostly consistent of trying to encourage Chucky that his ideas are worth trying out, like for almost this entire holiday special. I mean, she still has some unique lines and she's pretty much pretty funny too, but probably because of the fact that this is like a 49-minute holiday special instead of like an 11-minute episode. A lot of her dialogue is consistent of trying to encourage Chucky that his ideas are pretty good and that they're worth trying.
You should be in charge of decorating the town, Chucky. You always have amazing party ideas. The world needs to experience a real Chuck E. Cheese celebration to see what the holiday's all about. Chucky, I think it's a great idea. You heard Mrs. Claus. Christmas could actually be in danger. We could throw Santa the ultimate Christmas party, Chuck E. Cheese style, and save Christmas! Come on, Chucky, we can't give up. We can still find a way to throw our big rulebook party and save Christmas. You always say, the right party can solve any problem. So what's the solution? I knew you could do it, Chucky. You just needed a little faith in yourself like I've always had.
Thanks, Helen.
I mean, honestly, I'm not complaining, seeing how a lot of people do love the Chucky and Helen ship, especially during the Avenger era. So, honestly, this isn't considered too bad, especially because, let's face it, ships will be ships. But anyway, basically after Chucky says he couldn't have done it without his friends, that's when Santa thanks him for the surprise party and asks him for a favor. For you see, Santa mentioned earlier in the special that Santa's been so stressed out they don't even go on their annual Christmas Eve date night anymore. So Santa decides to make it up to his wife by having their Christmas Eve date night on the rooftop of Pasqually's restaurant with the help of Chucky. And that's when Pasqually decides to serve his family's mystery Christmas dish to Mr. and Mrs. Claus as their dinner.
Santa, Mrs. Claus, may I present you with the famous Pasqually family mystery Christmas dish in your honor. The first ever giant cookie pizza. Served with a pitcher of cold milk, of course.
Honestly, that looks pretty delicious. But anyway, basically this is also when Santa talks about what he learned from this experience, which is also what his wife was hoping that he would learn because of how worried she was about him.
I guess I spend so much time trying to spread Christmas cheer, I forget to enjoy it myself. Fortunately, I have my best friend to remind me.
I love you, you jolly old elf.
So after everyone says goodbye to their guest, that's when Santa is finally ready to take off to deliver the presents around the world, with Sandy joining him for an extended date night.
But first, we really need to get to that medical center. As I understand it, waiting is the worst thing you can do for beard rot.
Okay, I'm a little concerned that nobody's going to tell him that beard rot isn't real. But anyway, Chucky's happy about what they've accomplished by throwing Santa the surprise Christmas party and saving Christmas, which leads to a happy ending for everyone in the special. As the elves are finally going back to what they do best, which is toy making, and not only that, but they've made amends with the Troll King, seeing how he's reformed. And not only that, but Leggymos is starting to get the hang of actually seeing why the elves enjoy toy making. I mean, sure, he's adding miniature versions of himself to the toys, but compared to where he was at the beginning of the special, it's a start. But anyway, Pasqually's happy he gets to hang his picture with the other pictures of his family members, and Chucky's already hyping up his friends for what he has in store for next year, leading to a very happy ending and a Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas! Ow, my knee!
Yes, Merry ow my knee to all, and to all a good night.
So after the actual special ends, basically they start the end credit sequence by playing the music video of Christmas Robot Banana, which I've already talked about. And basically after that song stung, that's when the end credits roll as we hear a reprise of What Will We Do Without Christmas. And not only that, but basically we get to see something cool, which is that while the end credits roll, we get to see like special behind-the-scenes art of the characters that was made for the Christmas special. Like the height chart of some of the main characters, the storyboards compared to the final scenes, the CGI model for the party mobile, and even some of the concept arts made for characters like Jasper for the Pitch Bible. So honestly, that's really cool. What's also nice is that they even give a special thanks to some of the people for the special, and their friends and family who have taken them to Chuck E. Cheese's over the years when they were kids. And that has been a Chuck E. Cheese Christmas. Honestly, one of the best things Chuck E. Cheese's has actually made this year, seeing how much bad news they've been getting, like with the AI thing for Adventure World. Hopefully they'll realize that people don't actually want them to use AI, but anyway, this is honestly an amazing Christmas special and one of the best things to ever come out of Chuck E. Cheese's this year when it comes to media instead of like physical stuff. And honestly, I really wish they would be able to make more of this because of how amazing this was. Well, thankfully, according to some interviews with Zach Moncrief and John Colton Berry to promote the special, they said that the CZ Entertainment is kind of interested in doing more because they said they love what they did. And not only that, but they're talking about more episode ideas for if this ever becomes like a full-length TV series. So, you know, this is supposed to be like a backdoor pilot to a TV series. And basically, Zach Moncrief says the success of this would depend on if more people visit Chuck E. Cheese's and if they get more views on the places where this Christmas special is streaming. And honestly, they've already confirmed they've done a lot of stuff to help promote this and to try to get more views and more attention to this new version of Chuck E. Cheese. Like the online music videos I told you about where the characters sing the Chuck E. Cheese songs from the Rockstar era. And not only that, but some online shorts that don't involve songs, like this one short where Chucky tries to have a staring contest with the audience, but loses because of Munch by accident. So, and basically, I hope that means they have more that they haven't released yet, because so far we only have like 4 shorts of Chucky and Friends to try to promote the Christmas special. And last but certainly not least, I really love how at the end of the end credits they say Chuck E. Cheese will return while showing the original logo for the Christmas special to signify that they do have more in store and that hopefully they'll be able to release it if this special is successful. So that's honestly really cool. And honestly, this special is so amazing, and honestly I can't wait to see more from these people because the Pitch Bible have really cool episode ideas and ideas for other 44-minute holiday specials or special episodes, just like this one. And not only that, but in the interviews, Zach and John Colton Berry talked about what they wanted to explore because they actually added a lot of depth to their characters. And not only that, but they want to try to explore their backstories and secret sides to them. Like, for example, they said Bella sort of has a dark side to her, but nobody notices it because they're too busy on focusing on how cute she is. And so the dark side she has was rarely shown, but it had its moments. So honestly, I'm surprised that I was sort of on point with this video I made before I even saw that interview. It's kind of a crazy coincidence, am I right? And as I mentioned earlier, they're interested in exploring where Munch came from in outer space, which, as we know, for the Rockstar era, specifically Planet Purple.
Oh yeah! I sometimes forget that you're from the Planet Purple. So many things must be different for you here.
Yeah. Oh, we've got Santa on Planet Purple, but we call him Zorba Glordorba. Yeah, that's why everybody's behaving so well.
This is behaving well?
Each year during the Purple Comet Festival, he brings gifts for everyone on his Glorplog list.
Glorplog list?
Yeah! I think you call it the nice list.
It's like the Purple Comet Festival on my home planet. Once a year, the comet passes by our planet. We put Zorgnak ornaments on tree branches. I'm gonna teach you guys all sorts of Purple Comet Festival stuff. We're gonna have purple gerbil grow.
I'll get right on that, Chucky, but first I gotta go buy that Christmas tree.
Or you could just get yourself a Christmas meteor like we have on Planet Purple.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for both.
But honestly, who knows? maybe it's a different plan on it in this version, seeing how this is supposed to be a different version of the Chuck E. Cheese characters, as noticed by some of the personality changes and the new voice cast. But anyway, basically no matter what, I think this was an amazing holiday special, and I can't wait to see absolutely more of stuff like this, no matter what the holiday or the occasion is, from Zach and John for this version of Chuck E. Cheese specifically, because it was done incredibly well, and I told you I would trust these guys because of their previous work with stuff like Phineas and Ferb and Scooby-Doo. But the main point here is, no matter what, basically Chuck E. Cheese is thankfully still going on strong to this day, as it's almost at its 50th anniversary, which will be coming in just a few years. So, with that out of the way, I just wanted to thank you for watching this special Christmas video, because how can I not take the opportunity to make this a special video for Christmas, because it's a Christmas special. And honestly, I just hope in the future that we'll be able to see more Chuck E. Cheese stuff like this. I'm Christian Ryan, and thanks for watching a Chuck E. Cheese Christmas special video review. See you next time!